to the two audiobooks. We just started.
Okay, guys, let's get settled in. We're gonna start.
Surprising.
Whenever you're ready.
We're ready.
Okay. Welcome to the investing group. Hopefully we'll have another great meeting. And nothing here is financial advice. Invest at your own risk. All right. We'll start. We'll go around the room and introduce ourselves. Mario, you want to go?
Yeah. Mario Sanchez, architect by trade, and just here to learn more about investing and meet new people.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victor, one of the co-founders of the investing group with John and Eric. Been in finance for quite a while now, and just looking for new avenues to learn some new things with some new people.
Hi, I'm Seamus. I'm a sophomore at UIC. I'm the leader of the energy sector for UIC's portfolio management team.
Hello, everyone. Diana. Really just excited to learn about stocks, kind of the markets, getting to know why we are the way we are. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Deep, a recent graduate from UIC for Masters in Finance. Excited to be part of such great community, and joining from PMT to coming here actually gives us more exposure to markets.
Hi everyone, I'm Addie. I'm here with Quinn. I recently graduated from School of the Art Institute. I'm just here to learn and observe and potentially rebrand TIG.
Hey guys, I'm John. I'm a transportation consultant working for Arm-Chin, work for the government, and I'm a UIC alumni and club member, and I'm here to learn.
Everyone, I'm Bill O'Brien. I teach finance at UIC. And this is only my second meeting, but I love coming here and hearing what real people out in the world think of the market. So here to mostly listen, but happy to see so many UIC affiliated people here at the table.
Yeah, cool. So I'm John. I think I need a different name, maybe John the Elder or something. I'm a member of the club here, and I'm here to learn from all of you guys about what's going on in the world and the markets.
Hello, I'm Chris, also a UIC alum. I'm just here to learn and listen as well.
Hello, my name is Roberto, UIC alum, PMT alum, work in asset management, love markets, and looking forward to learn.
Hey everyone, I'm Quinn. Great to see all of you, a lot of familiar faces. I am a recent graduate of finance from UIC as well. Love the stock market, love trading, love talking about investments, and getting to hear some great thoughts and different perspectives. So,
Merck, together with Victor and John, we founded this, and it's kind of got elements of PMT from UIC, but it's an open discussion format. I'm a day trader, and I also do long-term investing. And so let's have another great meeting. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start off with a little small cap action. This was the crazy one today. DAIC, SID Holdco. This is an interesting company. So this is not Chinese, which has been like the dominant, I think, theme lately. This is a new theme. Obviously, it's probably trash, but you can't run up hundreds of %, which it did. And something interesting about this one is, well, let me see the description here. Yeah, so asset tracking platform that pushed the limits of near real-time precision-based location technology. They leverage the technologies, including the patented passive and active RFID tracking solutions. Okay, so a bunch of buzzwords. AI, tracking, mapping, all this military construction based in Las Vegas. Interesting. So that's kind of gonna, not really specifically to this, but that will be one of the themes we talk about today. So this thing was, some of us traded this. I think me and Quinn traded this, and it was an annoying cult fest. You can see from the get-go, from the open, like at about $1, and then immediately unhalts at 8:40 from 8:30 Central Time, So 10-minute halt, and then goes from like 1 to like 1 point high ones. So like a 50%-ish jump, like just like that. You know, how do you, yeah, this is crazy. And then I think we traded somewhere around here, rode out like some of these drops, and then trying to sell somewhere in the mid threes, but of course it teases and then kind of tanks back. So this is a losing trade. It happens, but of course, conveniently after hours, it randomly spikes back from the 1s all the way up to 6, and now it's around 4. So, you know, that's just how these things go. And there's no news for this. It just happens. That's just how microflow trash behaves. Always a fun time. Never a dull moment in small cap trash land. So this was a losing trade, but the positive about these things, at least from a trading perspective, is usually when you have a crazy mover like this to start the week, you're going to get a lot more sympathy plays for the rest of the week. That shouldn't be as hard to trade, but we'll see. So if there's more tracking camera type small caps coming days, it won't be much of a surprise. Another development, and I don't think it's not related to this, but apparently Nasdaq is moving to 23-hour trading now. So, you know, yeah, it was, so we have after hours and we have pre-market sessions. The market central time runs from 8:30 to 3 o'clock. And after hours is from, I think, 3 to what? Is it 7 central time? Does anyone know?
I think it's 6.
6, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6 or
6.
7.
And then pre-market, I think it opens at like 4 a.m., something like that. Well, now the Nasdaq has just decided to essentially just make the overnight session almost all the way through. I think there's only a 1 hour break now from like what, 3 to 4. I don't know. I don't, you know, it's a big headline, but it kind of means something. It means that I think there's probably going to be more, maybe even more pumping action that happens in small caps. Anything you combine that with the whole pattern day trading rule lifted and all that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, just in a nutshell, I think it's just more gambling incentivization, more of the same.
When does this start, or is it already happening?
Starts December 6th. So we still got like, yeah,
I
few
might have
months.
missed it, but what about options? Is that coming next?
There's a new options rule, right? Did that start? Let's see. Okay, extended pre-market session, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time to 9:25 Eastern time for a small group of high liquidity symbols. Okay, so major index options already trade 24 hours. So what's the group? Oh, I can use this Gemini. Okay. See if it catches my typo here. 21 highly liquid mega caps. Okay, Apple, AMD, Amazon. Okay, your usual mega caps. So yeah, if you guys want to trade options pre-market now, feel free. It should be fun, right? More chances to blow up or hit the lotto jackpot, you know? Has anyone traded any options like not during the regular, I mean, index options or anything yet? No. Okay, well, if anyone wants to mess around with this, let us know how the experience is. All right. All right, so we'll move on from that. We'll cover Iran real quick. I mean, it's always an ongoing issue. There's a lot of posturing. And then we want to move to the big main topics. Okay. Okay, here we go. Claude says, big day for this story. Okay, deadline and sanctions rollout everyone was waiting on. Sanctions announcement today. Treasury Secretary Bessent announced Operation Economic Outcast, which he called an unprecedented campaign against Iran and its enablers, after spending the weekend promising an economic D-Day in the Financial Times op-ed. Interesting. Bessent announced plans to place sanctions on countries that refuse to sever economic ties with Iran, stop short of imposing new major penalties. Okay, so just some more trying to strong arm, I guess. Yeah. Iran says, of course, defiance publicly with Grok showing. Okay, yeah, nothing new. All right. Hello. Minister has been openly mocking the pressure campaign, posting, "We have seen this movie before," saying, okay, yeah. And, you know, Pakistan, okay, they're trying to mediate through Pakistan. Okay. Seems like more of the same. Oil, yeah, oil has actually. Okay. I thought it came back to 90s or close. Maybe, okay, crude futures are back towards, okay, in the 80s, I guess. So I guess it's still pricing in a little bit of the Iran stuff that's remaining, but really more the same. So more posturing. We'll see how long this drags on. Anyone have thoughts on Iran, or should we move on?
I think their dollar hit an all-time low.
Did it?
I thought I read that.
Or whatever their currency is. It's a real currency. Okay. No. Yes, it hit a fresh all-time low Monday, dropping to 2.02 million per dollar. Wow. So if you have a buck, yeah, you're a millionaire in Iran.
Yeah.
On currency markets, first time it broke through the psychologically important 2 million mark. I gotta see this chart.
Psychologically important. That line was at 2 million.
Or USD to real. Oh wait, this says 1,370,000. This is like the Zimbabwe thing. What is? How do you? Wait a minute, is this for real? I mean, this is a Google chart, but is this really like? So it's 42K, then it goes to 1.3 million. Like, did it really go from? Plus over. I think it can read that, yeah. I mean, how do you, okay, well, if all your money is in that, that's gonna be rough.
It's interesting because I think like the whole sanctions on oil is more of like a economical attack, and I think it relates to this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so it says it's real, but it's from a different era, a different rate. That 42K number was their official peg rate. Okay, roughly 42,000 reals per dollar from 2018 to the early 2020s. Okay, the black market rate had already blown out to 112K, while the government set rate was 40K. Oh, so it had been moving, it just hadn't been set in recent years, and it's still over several years. Like, okay, last 12 months move, first broke 1 million in the spring. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so that Google chart's a little whatever, but still it has gone up quite a bit. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a billionaire in Iran with $495. Awesome. I guess do you think this justifies, I mean, is this the case for like crypto, you know, for like other countries, like developing countries or countries where things are not stable? Like, I don't know. Is that a use case for crypto? Speaking of which, Bitcoin has been moving. We can talk about that a little bit. Does anyone have Bitcoin or crypto?
I bought some last week.
Okay, at what price?
This is like 77.
Okay. Just buying the momentum, or
Yeah, I was kind of holding out. It was kind of stable at the 60 range. I was hoping it'd break down so I can buy in, but I didn't want to miss any rally. I mean, who knows where it could go from here.
this thing's been 60s. Yeah, it's been for a while now. Yeah. Who else has crypto? Who else has an opinion? Yeah.
Well, with what you said that it's a use case for crypto, I think it's like bullish the US dollar because they don't really use like Bitcoin to transact. Like it's very volatile. They're going to be using stable coins.
Yeah.
If you go to Argentina, it's easier than getting like dollars in the black market. You just transact via stable coins. Same with several countries in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, it is bullish the US dollar. Now, specifically, what do I see in crypto? I see that tokenization and stablecoins are like the next wave of adoption, specifically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the trade that I have it's long ETH, short BTC, basically.
Can we do a comparison on this thing? Let's see. Compared to Bitcoin. Okay. How have they done? I mean, they kind of move in lockstep to a degree, but and what's your theory for long Ethereum, short Bitcoin? I know you've told it to me before, but I forgot.
Yeah. Well, basically, everyone believes in a 4-year cycle, right? So
Yeah.
last cycle after 2021, everyone was like on shitcoins, basically a lot of altcoins. Everyone was heavy those, and then Bitcoin outperformed the whole market. So basically, the Bitcoin dominance against the rest of the market went up a lot. So it made everyone become like a Bitcoin maxi. So everyone in this bear market is buying Bitcoin, but they are underexposed to altcoins and specifically Ethereum, that is the second biggest one. And the thesis with Ethereum is that basically if the financial industry is going to be upgraded, everything is going to be in Ethereum or the layer 2s from Ethereum. Coinbase already has their layer 2. Robinhood already has their layer 2. BlackRock has their biggest fund in crypto in general in Ethereum. So the value is going to accrue in the native asset of the crypto economy, basically, because Ethereum is the biggest one, has the most total value locked there. So the thesis on the trade is basically you are kind of delta neutral, like you just have the spread. If you don't want to be directional, but basically my thesis is that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin this next cycle based on all of that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the market caps relative to Bitcoin, so Ethereum is about 300 billion, Bitcoin's about 1.5 trillion, so it's about 1/5 the size. So just on that, I don't know. It's hard to, it's kind of really hard to value this type of stuff, but relative value, and then you talk about, a lot of things are built on the Ethereum network. I guess that's the whole argument for it. Bitcoin is more just first mover advantage, that's the whole thing. But then you can also maybe make an argument for crypto in general and Bitcoin, just because maybe it's like this generation's gold, because gold is what? There's always going to be a subset of the population that's going to like buy gold or buy some kind of hedge, whatever it is. I guess the people who invested in gold, in previous generations, like those types of people now are like people in crypto, I guess, in this digital AI age. You could, if you want to make that general argument. So gold's at what, 30 something trillion, Bitcoin, crypto's like fraction of that, probably 2 trillion as a whole. So it's, from that trading perspective, I guess, in those arguments, just the relative market cap arguments, I guess there's a long way to go, but of course, plenty of massive drawdowns, right? And this latest Bitcoin drawdown or crypto drawdown took a lot of people out. So if you're willing to ride these out, it's like if you believe in this thesis, the relative market cap thesis, I could see it, but still got to deal with 80% drops here and there. So yeah, not easy.
I'm curious, any of the asset managers in the room consider any cryptocurrency as part of a asset allocation model for any particular client? I mean, it's probably a long-term play, but thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Any financial professionals here who want to talk? Yes, and want to mention anything about this? You too, Victor? Do you want to say something?
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. We had a question in there, but
okay.
if you wouldn't mind repeating that, sure, I can try commenting.
Are asset managers working crypto in any of their asset allocation models?
Yeah, there's definitely newer asset managers. You know, they have created like a suite of products that fit that need. I think it depends how you look at it. You know, there's kind of like two channels in asset management. There's like the institutional side with retirement plans. And I think while still difficult, you know, there's been more movement of assets in that space as opposed to like the intermediary channel, which is working with like financial advisors, where I think there's like personal demand amongst those people, but like most of these shops have basically shuttered their intermediary sales divisions. A big part of that's probably because of the huge sell-off, where you know you're trying to sell a product that's down 20-30% year to date. It makes your life pretty hard as a salesperson. But yeah, I think your traditional asset managers, for the most part, haven't really dived into this at all, except maybe some of your big players. You know, some of your bigger banks that have asset management divisions, you know, are a little bit more pro and spoken to those capabilities. But I think your more traditional guys, there's not much of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's just too. I mean, it's too volatile. It's too volatile to really like actually talk about it, and that like it's more of probably something where if the client or the customer wants it or they're interested in it, then it's like you tell, okay, great, but probably best to not have more than X% in it, you know. So yeah,
I think it's tough too. Like, what you'll always get asked is, okay, here's like this strategy, right? But where do I incorporate that in my asset allocation, right? If you're 100% allocated, you have to trim or replace something to get that allocation. So, you know, what is it adding, right? Is it, you know, reducing the volatility of your portfolio? Is it adding alpha, right? Like what is it adding to the mix of your portfolio? And if you can't answer that question, it's really hard to get into model portfolios. And so I don't know, like, is Bitcoin a good hedge? Is there enough evidence to support that? I'm not fully familiar on it, but from what I've read, not much. You know, I think a lot of people would argue even something like gold has failed to be like an appropriate hedge in a portfolio. But I mean, that's just different views on that from different people.
You haven't heard of anybody just like in a set it and forget it mode, like for long term, just to put a certain aside. And my concern, I guess, is that we could be missing a value proposition. Nobody in this room wants to put money into something they think is going to sit fallow for a year, right? Or even 6 months. But there are longer term plays that one might do. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I understand the volatility. I understand that very well, having experienced a lot of that over the last 25 years. But anyway, we don't need to discuss it anything more, but I would love to see somebody in our group explain that to us in greater depth at some point. Maybe we plan that into the agenda here.
Justin, we're here.
Yeah, we need our crypto.
Yeah, he would know the crypto stuff. I think one angle, well, if you have some iron, you have some crypto exposure, although, because there are some of those Bitcoin mining data centers pivoting to AI. So I think that might be, and again, because I'm not a crypto person, I don't pretend to be, I don't want to be. I'm not negative, I'm just like, okay, outside my circle of competence, so not going to touch it. But like, if you want crypto exposure, then maybe best, play an AI data center that like is pivoting from Bitcoin mining like IREN, even though we've talked about IREN plenty already. But it does kind of have some, it hasn't been going up with crypto lately. I think there's more issues with them specifically. CIF, Cipher Digital, that's a more, another one. HUT, I think, is one that's more like I don't think they're pivoting away. I think they're kind of, I should fact check a bit, but they're gonna stick to crypto and do the AI data center thing. So
Mara.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of which, Riot blockchain, which actually just got a deal with Anthropic, which was surprising, although it was a short-lived bounce for them. So yeah, I think the way to play it would be these data center stocks that either they're pivoting away from it or they're still going to do crypto. But that would be the sensible way to have crypto exposure.
Was that?
Can you? Go ahead. I'll say, can you check GBTC?
GBT, that's the Bitcoin Trust, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a fair value, a tracker. Someone mentioned it in the chat.
Okay. Well, that just moves with Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
It's an ETF.
And I don't know if it's in line with the NAV or, but it's just the Bitcoin. If you want to buy, so if you want to buy without jumping through holes or getting like some crypto broker, you can buy one of these things, I guess, for exposure. And then you have your MicroStrategy and Saylor and his crazy stuff, although he's been going nuts on Twitter lately, as usual. And this thing is kind of essentially like a long story short. I don't want to get too, because we've talked about this, but it's like buying a levered ETF on Bitcoin with a lot of decay. So at your own risk. Same with BMNR. That's Tom Lee's thing. Tom Lee is a massive mega bull on crypto and Ethereum who goes on CNBC and is always hyper bullish, which is kind of silly, but this one's for Ethereum, another essentially leveraged ETF, but they dilute like crazy. So you got to be careful with these things. But if you want to really go crazy on crypto exposure with, something in the stock market, I guess there's these things. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch these, but yeah, if you want to play it, there's definitely ways to play it. Anything else on crypto or on anything?
I'd say with these Bitcoin miners that are transitioning to AI, the big difference between them is that some hold the Bitcoin on their balance sheet while others sell it immediately.
Yeah.
IREN sells it immediately, so that's probably why it's not moving with Bitcoin, and also they're completely reducing the amount of Bitcoin mining they're doing right now. But Mara, I know they hold their Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and I think they're the 5th largest owner of Bitcoin. So for that play, I'd be watching them.
4 billion, yeah.
But I know nothing about their transition to AI data center.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, some are executing better than others, as we've seen. But then I guess if you're dialed into the whole, just what's going on, they keep saying there's so much demand for compute, like it's incredibly high. So actually that's a perfect segue into what I want to talk about next, which is Grok 4.6. Does anyone use Grok actively? Al?
Like on Cursor by accident.
Okay.
When they force you to use it before you can change the model.
Okay. But you're not deliberately trying to use it?
No.
Okay. Well, apparently, okay, so let me just ask AI. I'm asking Claude Fable 5 how it compares to.
Native to the program itself, so it's not just
It'll be objective about it, I think.
It didn't exist 3 or 4 years ago.
So yeah, Grok apparently has caught up. Well, not caught up, but they're right with, in terms of the benchmark and performance stuff, it's right just maybe 1% less than I think Fable 5.
Eric, if you want to go on, if you just search up on Google artificial analysis, Grok 4.6 versus just artificial analysis for Grok 4.6, yeah. And then intelligence performance, that second link.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah.
It'll show some really good stuff
Yeah,
so you
this
can
is-
understand it.
Okay. Okay, so, all right. Intelligence. Okay, well, we dive into what each of these means. Okay, Opus 5 is here. Fable 5 is here. Okay, so the Claude things, latest versions are right here. GPT 5.6, just a bit less. Grok 4.6, right with GPT 5.6. Okay, and then Kimi, thing from Moonshot, the Chinese one. Meta's thing, MuSpark. Here, GLM, what is this? I've never heard of this. That's interesting. And then Gemini is back here. Interesting. Except Gemini is still the fastest by far, that whole TPU technology. So, yeah, I mean, whoops. But in intelligence, yeah, just overall what they come up with and stuff, very interesting. And then cost, yeah, this is a big thing. So Fable 5, okay, yeah. USD per intelligence index. Okay, so anyway, Fable and Opus, $2, $3. GPT 5.6, just under $1. Grok 4.6, 84 cents. Right with Kimi. So Grok's just actually it shows how good Kimi is too. Right. So in terms of like performance versus cost, intelligence versus cost, Grok and Kimi are really making some waves here. And then what's this? Oh, this is like a all-in-one type of evaluation. Okay, Opus, Fable 5, and then GPT, Grok. Yeah, they're all kind of like right. I mean, 60-ish and above. It's like the leading ones. So yeah, it kind of shows first. I mean, so SpaceX really making waves, and China. And Kimi, we talked about it earlier. That's by the startup Moonshot, which is partially owned by Alibaba, which we do have in the portfolio as well. So we have exposure to it. But yeah, so it looks like now, obviously there's something to be said about like, customer lock-in, having an ecosystem already existing, which Anthropic has and ChatGPT, OpenAI has. So it's not like people are just going to mass adopt Grok or use it by itself. But, like with what we were talking about with Meta and MuSpark, SpaceX has a whole ecosystem and they can incorporate Grok into it. Although I have seen some stuff, people are using a Grok bot, which is like the new hype thing, which apparently just automates a lot of the tasks, workflows, whatever it is. I haven't tried it yet, but a lot of people are going crazy about Grokbot. So bottom line is Grok is making waves, and Grok 4.7 apparently is supposed to come out pretty soon, I think. So we'll see how that is. What does Claude say about Grok?
Disclosure at the beginning was crazy.
Yeah, we'll see how biased this is. What is it? Why is it giving me this site index? It's purposely trying to make it look confusing. It doesn't want to talk about Grok. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. Grok 4.7 in weeks. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I know everyone's going to come out with their new models, but I think here's the thing about SpaceX, and this is why I'm like, we just added it to the portfolio, by the way, and I'm still hyper bullish on it. I'm going to hold most of it, but and again, value, okay, yeah, that no one knows how to value it, and obviously price for whatever, but it might be the best structured company in terms of monopoly potential, maybe in history. like the new Standard Oil of our generation. Like just in terms of like, you think about what they have going on here. You have Grok, you have Grokbot, whatever. You have Launch, you have Starlink. Apparently there's a new headline with Starlink. Where is it? Oh yeah, Starlink Mobile. Okay, well this is a claim from SpaceX, but Starlink's trying to, they're getting on all the airplanes now. They're going to compete with AT&T, Verizon, et cetera. So you have the satellite internet stuff, and mobile, and then you have data centers, like terrestrial ones, but then they're also going to do orbital ones in space. There might have been some new developments on that. So I'm just like, Elon, this is why you don't bet against Elon ever. Like he just wins. He just plays it like a video game and goes for maximum damage every time. So, love him or hate him, that's how he plays it. So
I got a feeling if you asked the latest version of Grok to rate GPT, it would probably say all GPT versions suck. That's just Elon. You program it in there.
Let's see.
I was asking.
No, Grok does give. I think it'll. Yeah, if you wanted to talk trash, though, maybe it will. Like, I don't know if Anthropic would do that. Yeah, yeah.
So like an opinion section. Yeah. Do you read that side?
What is it?
It said, "Look, I'm optimized differently, reduced political."
I'm optimized
correctness."
differently, reduced political correctness. See, yeah. ChatGPT is the digital equivalent of a corporate HR intern who's terrified of getting fired. It's like reading from a legal script that was reviewed by 47 risk committees. It's so desperate to be liked that it will agree with you. You're clearly wrong, and then gently correct you 3 paragraphs later in the softest, most passive aggressive way possible. Oh my gosh. You know what? I think we should just have AI comedians and stuff. Like, shows probably better than the actual comedians. All right, so yeah, Elon has it down. In terms of just the positioning, now, of course, SpaceX has to start generating some revenue. Now we'll see if that crazy forecast they had, getting to what, 28 trillion at some point. We'll see if that ever comes to fruition, but it looks like it's about to start. So again, we'll see what the stock does near term, but long-term positioning, it's pretty incredible. Okay, I've asked before, but who has SpaceX? Okay, who's not bullish on SpaceX? Who's bearish on SpaceX? Anyone?
Depends on the timeline.
Right. Who wants? Do you want to make?
I'll make a bear case, I have a thought behind it. So the day that it spiked up, that was following the first unlock of shares, right? The ability of institutional or pre-holders, pre to the IPO, giving them the ability to sell. And it spiked up, 15%, 16% in a day and continued to rise. And the only news that I was able to find, I might have missed it, but the only news I was able to find was Elon saying that 99% of the revenue is going to be AI by 2027 or something like that. That could have been it. But around the same time, I also saw a number of funds reporting their holdings.
Yeah.
Now that SpaceX is public, they have to announce what their holdings look like. And one of them was one of Harvard's endowment funds. I think it was something like a $3 billion, $4 billion fund. But 50% of the fund is now SpaceX. And so people are going crazy on the internet talking about Harvard just made this massive investment in SpaceX, when in reality, who knows how long they've been holding this? They might have held it for 5 years before this IPO. So my thought is, well, with these lockups expiring, more and more are continuing to. Stock price is looking a little appealing as it goes up. I naturally think that one of Harvard's endowment funds is going to rebalance as 50% in a high growth tech stock that is, questionable with their revenue and their projections. I don't see it likely that they don't rebalance that portfolio. And I really want to get your thoughts on that because Harvard is not the only one that is facing that.
Right, so it could be a signal for like funds in general, because yeah, a lot of institutions or, you know, funds, whatever, have had it privately and now it's public. And okay, so Harvard Management Company disclosed like 13 million shares worth 2.2 billion, okay, as of June 30th. Count for roughly half their 4.3 billion. And okay, but I what's the total endowment? What's the, you know,
35 billion.
Okay, so yeah, still a fraction, but like, because they have a bunch of other stuff, not just public stocks. But the question is
57 billion. There you go.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so question is, if they do rebalance, it's like by itself from Harvard probably wouldn't do much, but if it's a signal for something, and a bunch of universities have it, right, or you know, and they all kind of do the same thing, then maybe it has some short-term drag or something, but who knows?
At the same time, Kathy Wood is loading up. Has anyone heard about that? With ARK Invest? Kathy Wood is pretty notorious for not being the best at choosing her stocks at the right time. And the retail community kind of puts her in the same boat as Jim Cramer. So I recently saw Kathy's been loading up on SpaceX recently. So there you go. I don't know. Is that a bullish signal or a bearish signal?
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Entire US, I should say. Yeah, so let's look at the endowments first, and then we'll see how much is held just total. I don't know, it really depends on, you know, it's a specific case. Does anyone know if UICs has it?
UIC doesn't have funds.
Well, the other was here, you could probably tell you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he could.
Harvard, what's this site index? Having some issues here. That Grok question threw it off. Okay. 3.5 billion directly disclosed university endowment holdings. Okay. UNC, WashU. Okay. 4 to 6 billion range. Yeah. Still, I mean, we're talking about a $1.8 trillion company. Like, yeah, it's hard to find. So, and again, who knows what those types of things, because if you saw on Twitter, and of course, this is why you always fade the public opinion, because everyone's like, oh, the lockup's coming, it's like, well, it's pricing it in, you know, if it's publicly out there, it's probably already like not worth doing. So, fun, of course, it pops on lockup expiration day just to troll, right? Like it's been pricing that in down here. So it already jumped ahead of it. The market, people got to remember, the market's forward looking. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the.
Does anybody think it can, like, if how we know Elon is, there can be market manipulation in future?
Sorry, more what in the future?
Like market manipulation in the future, how we know he is.
Oh, like Elon will tweet something or he'll say something and then he'll
and then
always do that. That's par for the course. Like, you know, it's the subtle hype. Well, I don't know about, doesn't really move in relation to it, but Tesla, actually, this is kind of for next meeting, I have it as a topic, but Tesla Cybercab is coming up apparently in Austin, Texas, release like September 3rd. So it's a thing Elon's been hyping too. So we'll see. But yeah, he's always kind of doing that. So I think I'm not going to say the market is priced like accounts for it, but that's pretty normal, I guess. The next lockup expiries, okay, September 10th, 25th, October 10th, and 25th. Okay, 7% each. So I'm sure just because the market likes to be silly, well, one of these days it probably has a big down day, just because. So it'll just find excuses to jump either direction.
Two quick things about SpaceX. One is just now that they're public, I wonder if people are going to learn a lot more from the quarterly disclosures. Like if there are bodies buried or where they're, what governments their stuff gets funded from. I think that could be a factor. The other thing I'll caveat this with saying, some of you guys that were my students know I won't talk politics, but my political alignment is not typical for finance people and well known to many. But I always think with guys like Elon, there's downside risk. Like I just got done reading this book that talked about how Bezos was lobbying the Trump administration really, really hard to be like, you don't have to use Starlink. We got, we could whip something up for you at Blue Origin. We could start doing this kind of stuff. And I feel like Elon as a person is I find him fairly repellent as far as his views on things. Maybe it's just me, but with a guy like that, there's always downside risk that if there's administrative changes and Starlink contracts and stuff like that, I'm sure that's difficult to unwind. But maybe you run into a situation where something gets switched over and people are not pricing in that kind of downside tail risk.
I was actually so we did it. I had like an impromptu war room. Just felt like it on Discord. John joined, so we were talking about this, and don't want to get too politically into it, but I was talking about how, honestly, I think whatever you believe, the 2028 election is probably going to be the most market moving, market influencing election we've ever had to date. Like, just because of what's all tied into it. So that's going to be something to watch. I think the market probably, if we have, I'm not going to say it's a headwind, but just because the market will drop on like uncertainty, I think probably, so I like to say, we'll get like tailwinds on AI, but the election will be something to, when it's coming up, midterms too this year, but more so 2028. And so we'll just see how it goes. But there's a lot of stuff brewing that it's going to be interesting to see how it all sort of lines up with, people's sentiment on AI, people's sentiment on data centers, but then what they think about China and that whole Cold War that's going on with us and China and AI. So it's like there's a lot of factors at play. That's all I'm going to say. And there's a lot we're going to have to be watching as it gets gradually closer to that. But yeah, it'll be something. And yeah, so Elon is like I've said, he's kind of like he plays business like he's a video game hacker troll, and that he just maximize his chances no matter what, deregulate no matter what, do whatever it takes. Like that, it's just play to win. That's what he does. He plays to win. So within the domain, that's why he's obviously so effective at what because he's not, I don't know. Yeah, he's not really thinking so much about like the emotional aspects, but he's just playing to win.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I was for a guy that I don't like personally, it was impressive with the SpaceX IPO where he just went to the index funds and was like, I think you guys should change your rules because, we're SpaceX and everybody's talking about us. And most of them were like, oh, okay, yeah, we enlist you right away. And, you asked for it and you got it. So, I mean, credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah. Size, influence. Yeah. So the laws can be changed if you have enough influence and incentive to,
I'd like to ask anybody table opinion about whether it makes sense to hold both SpaceX and Tesla stock in your portfolio.
Who has Tesla?
Anybody got both SpaceX and Tesla? Yep.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking.
Victor, you got both. What's your opinion? Or you just...
Yeah, I guess I own them in different accounts. But I do own both. I don't know how much evidence there is that SpaceX will acquire Tesla at some point. I think everyone's been chatting about it, but I think Elon Musk himself has personally denied those rumors. So I think, I mean, I've owned Tesla for a long time, mostly just as getting some exposure to Musk. You know, regardless of what you think about him, you know, his stocks have done well historically. But I don't know. I would rather own SpaceX, to be honest. I just don't want to pay capital gains on my Tesla stock.
So advise me.
So
I have both. I have an equal number of shares of both companies. Obviously, one is very heavily weighted against the other, both in the same, and both in my IRA. So, yeah, I'm just wondering whether I should just go all SpaceX. That's my thought. Tesla just applied for 5,000 permits to put robotaxis in Las Vegas. They got approved for 5, not 5,000, 5. They're like, no, you can put your toe in, that's it. But I think this between Optimus, and they're retooling all their American factories away from cars toward Optimus. So most of the Teslas now are going to be imported.
yeah, I was pretty bullish on the full self-driving, and I still am. I just think that landscape's a lot tougher, like Google and the grounds they're making with Waymo. You know, I think they're like a real competitor. It'll probably be somewhat of a duopoly, I think, between the two in the near term as full self-driving starts to build out more. But I don't know. I guess you just have to ask yourself which stock you have more conviction in.
I got a feeling that a year from now, we're all going to own SpaceX. And no, there will be no Tesla.
I'll say this, when SpaceX went on their roadshow to go public, they met with asset managers, and asset managers got access to shares in the IPO so that they could get placed into these different, I mean, most of them I would guess would probably be like large growth or large equity growth, strategies. So I think from an institutional perspective, a lot of smart money's betting on them, which is never a bad sign.
Trying to think, like, if there's an advantage to merging. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much, but I guess just to build up more hype so you can get more funding, maybe. Like, that would be the thing. It's just more, I mean, if there's one thing about Elon, he will do things. He does publicity stunts, or he'll do whatever it takes to stay in the news. So just another news driving thing. But let's ask Claude. Let's see.
I will say if there's one advantage that Tesla has is that a lot of your traditional like Detroit automakers gave up on like electric vehicles. Like they scrapped those programs, which to me is like you don't exist in 30 years probably. You're probably a dying business now. So I don't know, lucky breaks, a lot of lucky breaks from Musk and his businesses, where you just see these business decisions that to me make no sense. I mean, like I think GM was one of them. Like I don't understand how GM exists in 2 or 3 decades if they're solely still betting on fossil fuel powered cars. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Especially if we switch parties in 2028.
Even that aside, at some point, it's just like the future. That's what I personally believe. It's full self-driving and electric powered vehicles. I think if you look at, I want to say, I'll pull up the stat. Like the amount of people under the age of 30 that don't have a driver's license has like quadrupled in the past decade. Where there's just like this idea of like, you go back to like the 1950s and it was like, get a car because it's freedom. Like, I don't think anyone cares about that anymore when you can explore the whole world on your phone. Like it just doesn't have the same appeal. So I think cars will just be a service one day. Like cars as a product to me is just a bad business model.
Are big wheels still being sold in this country?
I can't even remember the last time I saw a kid on a big wheel. So, but I don't know.
I mean, it seems like a superfluous question, but from a young age, especially little boys, I think they learn to the joy of freedom of locomotion. I can power this thing. I can get down to the end of the block. I can whatever. Don't ever take the steering wheel away from me. I get fighting mad about that. And I just went to a classic auto show over the weekend. So but maybe that's going to die. And certainly I think the Democrats push towards green energy and everything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if 25 years from now, they don't even allow combustion motors. Anyway, long discussion. Eric, you
You have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I read how 1 in every 4 or 5 jobs in the US is related to the auto industry. So what do you think is gonna happen with that?
It's large disruption, yeah.
Yep.
Which is why I think it's funny when, like as a country, if you want to place all your eggs on one industry, on one basket, protect a certain group of jobs, how productive is that effort in the long run?
Come on, Johnny, give us your transportation perspective on it.
Sorry.
I would say that that's tough because, at least from a public policy perspective, there's a bit of an ebb and flow. Some municipalities are investing a lot more deeply in EV infrastructure, while others are sort of kicking the can down the road to see where it's going. I would say in Illinois, there's a lot more investment in that, but on the same token, the speed of investment in EV infrastructure is going to affect how quickly it affects the rest of the auto industry. And then I would say that autonomous vehicles are definitely on the horizon, but once again, from the legislative perspective or the regulatory perspective of local municipalities, it's really happening very slowly. Outside of San Francisco, I believe Phoenix, and a few pilot programs in Chicago and then a couple other cities on the East Coast, I believe, like the Waymos of the world are really being given a slow rollout. And those sorts of things are also very tempered by public opinion. The general public has shown a bit of a tolerance to EV autonomous vehicle accidents. Like Tesla hasn't seen a massive revolt against it when a pedestrian is hit by their autonomous driving, but there's still somebody behind the wheel a lot of the time with that. If a big controversy happens where it's like a very sensational headline of an autonomous vehicle killing a pedestrian, I could see the tide shift and slow that down. But at least currently it is progressing, but very slowly. And I would say that it's a pretty long timeline before you see not only taxis just being automated, but most cars being automated, unless, once again, something happens that completely rolls it back, or something happens like how, I don't know what this would look like, but the pandemic made us all shift to remote work timelines much more quickly, using Zoom for meetings that a year before that would have been in person. If a large event happens that facilitates that transition, maybe that could change things, but I see it being a much longer timeline.
Well said. Thank you.
Thanks. Any more thoughts on Tesla, SpaceX? Anything before we move on? All right. Next topic. Let's see. We got some big ones. Let's say, oh yeah, Moderna. All right. We talk some biotech, healthcare. So yeah, Moderna. All right. Let's. You know what? I don't know what's the deal with Claude with these site index things. I'm just gonna use Grok.
The official sponsor of the day.
Yeah.
Start saying that about all the AIs.
We're data point now. We're switching to Grok. We're just So yeah, Moderna jumped over 100 something percent because they had a positive phase 3 news for their, I guess it'll say it, but it's for melanoma. I think it's a melanoma vaccine or something. So that's pretty significant because this is apparently clearing up like skin cancer, like an actual cancer being like, this is huge. And another big thing is this was actually, a lot of it was done on like an AI or using AI to sort of build this out. So let's just see what Grok says now. And plus, Claude will restrict you when you ask it like bio questions. So again, all the more reason to use Grok. Okay, yeah, phase 3 success, August 19th. Positive top line results from phase 3, yes. personalized neoantigen mRNA vaccine given in combo with Merck's Keytruda. Yeah, so Merck also jumped a little bit on this. Let's see. I mean, Merck's a giant, but you know, good for Merck too. So this combo of Merck, Keytruda, and this Moderna treatment apparently, yeah, does a lot of good stuff for melanoma. So 1,137 patients randomized 2-to-1 to the vaccine plus Keytruda versus Keytruda alone. That's how they tested it. Okay. Met the primary endpoint of recurrence-free survival, time without the cancer returning, and the key secondary endpoint of distant metastasis. What's the free survival, time without the cancer spreading to distant sites. First positive phase 3 result for any mRNA-based cancer vaccine, and the first for an individualized neoantigen therapy. Builds on earlier phase 2b data, which showed a 49% reduction in risk of recurrence or death, 5-year follow-up. Yeah, so this is very significant stuff. Yeah, and the stock, of course, lasted 150 to 177%. Yeah, in one day. So a little bit about Moderna. I had kind of talked about it a bit in Discord, but so it's at 55 billion market cap right now, kind of settled a bit, still up a lot. This thing, kind of like, I mean, it's been around for a while. This, they kind of went for years without anything. I mean, I think the chart goes longer, but they were around for much longer before COVID, I think. For years, not really much going on. And then COVID came about, and obviously there was a rush to make a vaccine. And as you guys know, and probably took it, like Moderna and Johnson & Johnson came out with vaccines. And Johnson & Johnson, not really a surprise because Johnson & Johnson is a giant incumbent. And so they would have the resources. I mean, yeah, several $100 billion company that they came up with that. But Moderna, being more startup-y or kind of like, you know, smaller mid-cap coming up with it, that was kind of a shock to the market. And so their stock ran from what, like in the teens all the way up, okay, maybe split adjusted, but to like 400, 500 in the span of a year and a half or so, it looks like, because of their COVID vaccine. Still, though, financially, they haven't really justified it, but it was a signal, hey, maybe, and now it's kind of legit and that they got stuff. So the stock crashed all the way back down, almost to, yeah, pre-COVID levels, like sub 20, it looks like briefly, or about 20. And then now they come out with this. So it looks like, okay, there's something here with this mRNA stuff and what they're doing execution-wise. I mean, compare this to a company like Novo, which we just dumped, by the way, which they have GLP-1s, but, you know, they've had some execution issues. So even though they're valued like a cash cow, look at this PE, forward PE, very low, free cash flow, you know, everything looks great, pays out a dividend, all this, but, you know, it might be a value trap. Who knows? Whereas Moderna is like, they're just burning so much. They probably got to do an offering pretty soon, you know. Don't got much cash, burning lots per year, whatever it is. I mean, financially, this doesn't have much. It's kind of like a speculative biotech. Now it's valued, but again, they got stuff. Like they've got like, okay, this is a signal. Maybe what else could they do with this, right? They use AI for this. Okay, you do it for melanoma. Well, maybe you could do it for other types of cancers too. Then what's the total addressable market for that, right? It could be hundreds of billions or who knows what. So that's kind of like what the market is looking at with that. So going back to this, now I have to remember to use Grok here. Okay, so genuine platform validation moment. Yes, beyond infectious disease. Major commercial and narrative reset. Yeah. After the post-COVID collapse. Yeah. So what I mean, I mean, we don't know until more news comes out, but it could very well be with AI, it's accelerating what's going on in biotech, which, you know, we'll see what kinds of new drugs, treatments, vaccines come out. But this could be very significant, like things that were thought of as maybe untreatable or very hard to treat now can be cured or, you know, eliminated. So an example, I guess, if there's anything you can compare this to, I guess company specific wise, off the top of my head, Gilead. So Gilead was, you know, very speculative startup. And then they came out with a treatment for, what was it? It was something significant. What is their thing? Yeah, they did stuff for HIV and they did stuff for, I think that was a big thing, HIV, not like a cure, but something that basically like shuts it down as long as people take it. And then they had one, let me just look at this. Oh yeah, hepatitis C, I think. It was like hepatitis, that was like a big thing. So it's like that's the lotto ticket, you know, with these biotechs. If they hit it big on something, you know, they can become like a Gilead. Gilead's now 180 billion. So Moderna's already kind of pricey, but just trying to draw some parallels here in terms of like what this news could be like. So it's like maybe they're like the next Gilead of the AI bio age, you know, could very well be that. And then they could get money coming in, cash cow and so forth.
Do you think they're expensive right now because everybody's freaking out over this?
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those things where like, it's almost like a question about like, would you own SpaceX or would you own Palantir? You know, it's like that. It's like the biotech version of that, because it's like, again, most bios are expensive or they are, you know, cash burning, and this is, but then it's like it's so significant that you got to give it weight. It has to, it like, I believe, like, I don't know how much the jump should have been exactly, but like, it definitely should have jumped on this. You know, it deserves some type of mega premium, obviously. And I think a lot of that premium just depends on market sentiment. And sentiment is getting more bullish. So now if we run into any sort of bear headwinds in the market, it can easily, you know, drop a ton. But I don't think it's probably going back to where it was before this news came out. And if it does, well, then that's, you know, maybe a value buy if you want to think of it that way. But this is, yeah, these are all speculative. So you kind of have to like, and again, the way you treat biotech, these drug companies, you almost have to give it its own sort of like category. These don't move like other stocks. It's why in the Discord, like we have a specific screener for like biotechs, because it's just, you can't price them like most other companies. It's based on these drugs and what's in the pipeline and the whole FDA process. It's just a different way of looking at it. But at this point, yeah, this thing could be huge. Let's see what the TAM is. Maybe we can get some idea of like, okay, let's see the TAM for these other cancers. Okay, so pipeline expansion. Okay, so they have, oh wow. Okay, so Moderna and Merck, they have this program. It spans 9 phase 2 to 3 trials across multiple types of settings. Non-small cell lung cancer, multiple phase 3 trials. Okay, renal cell carcinoma, bladder cancer. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in phase 2. You know, all right, so sum up biotech, like phase 1 basically just means it's safe to use and that the drug's not harmful. You know, it doesn't actually necessarily treat the thing. It's just not going to like kill the person, I guess, or screw them over. Phase 2 is, okay, now if you pass phase 2, it's like there's some significance in what it was trying to treat, but it's like a small sample. You know, phase 3 is significance and larger sample. So you're already in phase 2, 3, especially in phase 3, it's like, okay, you have some legs here. So they have 9 this partnership with Merck, this program has 9 phase 2 to 3 trials, like total. Like that's significant. So I think a lot of that pricing also for Moderna is considering like some of these also passing these if they pass phase 3 or something for some of these other cancers with this mRNA stuff. If that's the case, then let's see if it talks about the TAM. Okay, so melanoma, analyst peak sales estimates range from 1.4 to 3 billion annually. Okay, I mean, that's probably not enough to justify a $50 billion valuation by itself, right? So it definitely has to be pricing in like some of these other things passing. And the profit split between Moderna and Merck, okay. And for Merck, it's kind of like a drop, it's just another thing, their massive pipeline. Okay, this other non-small cell lung cancer thing, okay, bladder cancer, if they succeed, by 2035, okay, peak sales, mid to high single-digit billions or higher, okay, or up to 16.8 billion by 2035. Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so this might have a bigger TAM than the melanoma. And then, all right, so it's kind of being priced like this current valuation at 55 billion, it's kind of assuming already a pretty significant probability that those other types, yeah.
So Eric, what makes you say that Moderna, aside from its size, is this sort of startup-y environment healthcare stock? And what other ones are there like that as well?
Like why I call it kind of a startup?
Yeah, besides just its size.
Because they don't have like a massive existing pipeline like say a Merck or a Johnson & Johnson does. They're not like a cash cow. I mean, you look at these financial metrics and it's just like, you know, this is not a value stock, that's for sure. So it's based on future expectations. The only thing they had really going for them, they might have had some smaller stuff, but the main thing was that COVID vaccine. But COVID's not like a big thing now. I mean, it's still around, but it's not like what it was in 2020, obviously. So it's like they got to keep coming up with things. So that's why I call this kind of like startup mode, which is what a lot of biotechs operate in. And even at 55 billion, it's just a giant startup, I guess, for biotech.
Is it founder CEO?
Let's see. I think it's been around longer than that, but I think a big thing for them is actually the tech, how they're executing, like in AI coming into play, like some of these facts, and it might not just affect Moderna, it might affect other bios, pharmas.
I'd be curious to see what
and that's why I was saying maybe the whole space, pharma, bio, healthcare space could get some more tailwinds on this, but we'll see. All right, so founded in 2010, yeah, it's been around. Oh, so the CEO came in shortly after the founding. Okay. Stéphane Benson, some French name, I think. CEO since October 2011. Okay. Operational leader, significant shareholder. Kind of, not a scientific founder, but was in there early. So pretty close, you know. And again, that's something we talk about. It's not a hard rule, but generally, I mean, there's so much data on this. Research like founder, CEO-led companies that are public tend to outperform. They just do. Because of all the stages of growth, the founder, if you're public and you're big, I mean, the founders already navigated a lot of stuff privately and pivoted probably multiple times, and they've just seen different stages of growth versus someone who's been hired in from the outside to maybe optimize a certain process. But then when the market shifts and you need to innovate, then usually that hired from the outside CEO isn't as good as sort of pivoting as, say, a founder type would be, you know. It's why Facebook, Meta is around and still kicking because of stuff, and of course Elon. So, but again, interesting. So yeah, Moderna, in terms of like, yeah, it's kind of like it's not SpaceX, but like there's elements of like, okay, they have some serious stuff going for them, Does it justify the value right now? I don't know. It's anyone's guess, but there's a lot of potential stuff. Huge total addressable market, huge revenue boost that could happen if they keep building with this AI framework and then they come up with some more treatments for these cancers, you know? So it's, again, it's, you're taking a stab in the dark on incomplete information. Like, by the time you have all the information, it's probably gonna be higher. And so it's like, you either believe in that they continue to execute like this and come out with stuff, or they don't. But again, stock's gonna be super volatile. Not something probably for the TIG portfolio, but something where, like, if you believe in the story, then okay, maybe there's legs. Anyone with thoughts on this, or just in general in the space? Yeah.
What other stocks in the healthcare space do you think of as sort of in that startup mode, or that like they have to prove themselves mode?
Let's see. Let's ask Grok.
Because what I'm thinking is, right, as these AI models get better, like obviously they're not going to directly say that we're using AI to make medicine, but obviously they're going to. And a lot of this stuff seems very domain specific. So like somebody who's really good at understanding medicine, they're not going to know these other things that you need to connect the dots to create sufficiently good cures. Then AI is going to allow them to actually connect those dots. And we're going to see a lot more maybe Moderna style large pops. There's just going to be a lot more people creating stuff. Because we all remember those Twitter stories of that guy solving that his dog's cancer and all those other things. What if these companies start harnessing this? And especially the ones that need to prove themselves.
This is kind of like the public company version of that. It's like, you know, those could be like signals, even though those are like isolated stories, right? The guy on Twitter with the dog's cancer, the other guy who made the Alzheimer's drug, which hasn't been tested yet, but like, think people using AI or like computational biology. I mean, even Anthropic has been going after computational biologists lately. Like, everyone kind of sees the potential for this type of stuff.
And so Ashton Benner talked about it in the thesis too. He's like, oh, we're gonna see it in biotech and all this stuff. It might be starting now. It'd be interesting to see what
we could be at sort of an inflection point. So Grok says BioNTech, it's BNTX. Okay, most direct comp, okay. Also mRNA, so a lot of these mRNA things, deep oncology pipeline, another cancer related one. So probably a rival, let's see, BNTX. Yeah, I've definitely heard of this one before. I think they actually had a COVID, didn't they have a COVID vaccine also, or some partnership with someone, maybe? They had something. 28 billion, okay, yeah. Similar. Oh. Okay, yeah, kind of done, just sitting around since COVID. Yeah, they also did something with COVID, I think. So yeah, I think if you want to play like next Moderna, like you could go for this thing again. Well, cash position isn't bad actually. Not that it matters too much, but like, hey, okay, there's maybe not as much downside. Then again, they still need to show some stuff. Phase 2 for pancreatic. Okay, and other cancers. All right. Interesting. Okay. ARCT, another mRNA, cystic fibrosis, phase 2, phase 3, expected Q4 2026. Okay, that's coming up. Let's see. ARCT. Got some running COVID, back down. Okay, another one, good cash, but they've raised a lot. Okay, this one is small. This one is, oh, well, they've run quite a bit in the last month. Nice to know about this a month earlier. 400 million market cap. So if you want to really get speculative and play the small size game, moonshot, I mean, maybe it keeps going. Wow, yeah, this has probably been running actually. In sympathy with Moderna as like, okay, yeah, mRNA stuff, getting bids, in sympathy, small player. So yeah, this thing has been going with the Moderna thing lately. Looks like past several days.
It's going to be a good short now. What do you think?
It's always really tricky shorting these types of things over these extended moves. Like, yes and no. in the very short term, but you don't, yeah. Medium to long term though, this could keep going. Gene editing, let's see, NTLA, I've seen that one before. CRISPR, I know John's talked about CRISPR before. NTLA. Yeah, maybe now is the time. If you want speculative bio, pharma, like this is maybe, yeah, just on anticipation of these companies figuring stuff out on the AI framework and getting past phase 3, like for their stuff. Yeah, you still gotta be mindful of the risk because again, they haven't like shown stuff yet, but there's definitely you get heavy tailwinds on this. So very interesting. AI driven drug discovery. Let's see this. RXRX. Okay. SLS. Yeah, I've seen some of these before. Who's big on biotech stuff? Who has a lot of biotech in their portfolio? Anyone? Yeah. What? John, you don't have the CRISPR stuff anymore, do you?
Never did buy it.
Oh, you just thought about it.
I got my list of stocks I'm looking at here, and they've all just been decimated, so.
It's been a rough market for growth lately, but.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 billion, yeah. Nothing crazy value-wise, but, okay, so, yeah, if you want some moonshot type, just gotta be mindful of that risk, but we'll see. All right, so, yeah, lots of potential on this. Anyone else have thoughts on, yeah.
It's a little bit less exciting than a potential, moonshot from a smaller pharma company. But I just went out and looked at J&J and Abbott and Pfizer. And they all kind of bumped up too when the melanoma stuff passed. And, couple things came to mind with that. One is that, the model for a lot of the bigger pharma companies is they will just try to acquire the smaller ones and buy up their R&D teams, right? And if these people were able to develop a melanoma shot, what's the a year or two ago, everyone was talking about the GLP-1 shots or whatever it is. So it's not as exciting as getting a stock that's going to double overnight. But if you're looking for sector investing, us know-nothings in the academic world, and I say that half seriously, would tell students like everything's priced in, right? Like we know that there's an Alzheimer cure coming in the next 10 to 20 years, right? And so the market is accurately assessed, the collective wisdom of the market is assessing that probably a pharma company is going to develop it. And so that's already priced in and blah, 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 blah. The markets are efficient. Clearly not, right? I mean, you'd expect Moderna to jump, right? But the fact that every other pharma company isn't even flat, but like seemingly up at the same time, I'm sure some of that'll correct. But, think about if you're, modeling this in a DCF, how are you going to model that like, oh, well, this company has a 0.007% chance of getting the Alzheimer vaccine and this many, like you just are kind of fudging it in the terminal value, right? Because you're like, I don't know, right? Yeah. So if you're looking for a sector where things are going to explode and probably exceed people's ability to model it, if you're risk averse at getting the smaller firms, just in the last 20 minutes looking at this, my eyes just got wider. And I'm like, maybe I should go for the big biotech companies, right? It's 20% a year is not going to be unreasonable.
There's also
less risk.
There's also, some of these ETFs you can make it just like as a sort of, if you just don't want to try picking out the individual companies because it's very difficult. This might be a case where, hey, maybe it is reasonable to, and again, they have Moderna. It's actually their top, it's 2% top holding in some of these other speculative things. But like the biotech ETF, it's kind of been on a tear lately, although it had been not doing much for a while. Just getting back to COVID levels, I guess, but maybe there's more legs to it now. So, and I have my own thoughts, positive and negative on ETFs, but there's cases where like you can use ETFs, especially for speculative sectors, when there's promise and we talk about potential tailwinds, it might be meaningful to just get the ETF for it. Or I was looking at the healthcare just in general. Really depends on which one. Let's see what's in this one. Heal. Yeah, look at the holdings here and see, but who has what? This has some other. Oh, this has him. This one's interesting. Is there a Victor? Do you know any what's an ETF that has, or a fund that has like Johnson & Johnson or
I'm trying to think of what the
what was
spider
it?
one is.
iShares. Did I just look at that? US healthcare ETF. What does this have? Okay, yeah, this one. IYH. This has Lilly, 15% Lilly, 10% Johnson & Johnson, 7% AbbVie, 5% Merck, United Health. Okay, some insurance stuff too. This could be a safer way to play it, rooted more in value. IYH. So just as a collection, it's better long-term steady growth. This might be just and we've talked a lot about just healthcare in general, not just pharma, biotech, but like from every angle, from the demographic shifts. We talked about, what was that one, Mario, with the
Bright Springs Health.
Bright Spring, like the freaking like end of life care stuff and hard, every aspect. It's got some kind of potential tailwind. And then of course HIMSS and the peptides and GLP-1s, like it just every aspect of healthcare, I think. Very bullish on healthcare. And we've actually in our portfolio, we've pivoted a lot into healthcare lately with a lot of stuff, and it's been doing quite well so far. So I think this is the time. And if you're talking about like what's AI, we talk about like, oh, what are the bottlenecks, right? Well, maybe healthcare is like the nice bottleneck second order effects play from AI because they'll just integrate it into it. So instead of trying to find what's going to move like the next hot AI infrastructure, maybe you look at other sectors completely that could really be built on the AI framework or showing signs like healthcare and bio. Quinn, did you have a thought? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a company I've been eyeing for a couple of weeks now. I'm surprised it hasn't come up with all of our AI prompting, but GE Healthcare. I found them, obviously it's GE. GE split off into three big companies, healthcare being one of them. But this company is crazy in their acquisitions. And also, I read that they have the most AI patents of all healthcare companies right now. And I don't think they're in the drug discovery space. They're in more of the hard, like the physical, like hardware aspect of say radiology or like detecting a tumor or something.
Right.
They're putting AI into all their systems. They have they're a dominant player in these like physical systems in hospitals, and they're going to benefit from AI significantly. And I just want to point it out because it does, like you said, it seems like a slower mover.
Right.
But in the years to come, this is where we're going.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could call it med tech, I guess. Daniel's not here, but it would be interesting to see his thoughts on this. But yeah, and we also, I guess you could call it med tech with intuitive surgical. I guess we have that. But yeah, there's GE Health. There's definitely, and this is kind of a value stock. This is a safer way to play it. In terms of like diagnostic stuff or just the machines. Again, AI, it's kind of like an AI hardware healthcare aspect. That's another angle of playing it. Yeah. And that's kind of like not something that would pop out on the surface, which is actually a good type of investment. It's something that's not, you want these more second order type stuff. That's a good one. Anything else on healthcare, pharma, bio, whatever stuff? Yeah.
I guess I have more of a question on like what AI servers or companies are being utilized or working with these companies. Because we just keep saying like they're working with AI.
Like if they're building it on cloud or something like that.
Right, like I would want to know a little bit more in detail about that and how necessarily are they going on about that, like research wise. yeah, kind of a little bit more about that.
I'd say Amazon's gonna be the number one across the board.
Just with the infrastructure.
And
Yeah.
Anthropic ownership too.
Mhm.
Well, let's see what Grok says, and then let's take a look at Amazon, because for many reasons, I feel like this is one we could add as well. I know it's kind of boring to just have a bunch of big tech, but let's be real, tech's pretty well positioned. Yeah, I mean, reasonable value, spending more, whatever, big company, but lots going for it. Just want to see, okay, we'll see what Grok says. Yeah, I am curious, or they're using their own AI. Okay, so Moderna and other large biopharmas. Okay, we'll type it out. Combining internal platforms with partnerships involving frontier labs. I know some have been using like Google, because Google has some stuff for science, the DeepMind or the AlphaFold. I don't know if they're actually using it actively, but they have some stuff there. Yeah, Google DeepMind. Okay, although the guy that started Google DeepMind, or the DeepMind, just left apparently. They're having kind of an exodus there. There's some stuff going on there, but still very strong. All right, so what does it say? Let me find it again. Where was it? Where was it? Okay. OpenAI, Moderna, okay, Lucy platform, Novo Nordisk, Thermo Fisher. Okay, so OpenAI. So I guess OpenAI is playing a role in this. Now the question is, I don't know. It's obviously important to be using. Yeah, so it's based on these frontier labs still. And you see Anthropic, Bristol Myers Squibb, okay, Novo, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, Google DeepMind, Eli Lilly, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson. Yeah, so everyone's kind of tied in. And of course, everyone's tied into NVIDIA as a result. Now the question is with LLMs, like if the costs keep going down over time, like is it profitable for them? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting, like, because they're kind of like a commodity in itself. It's kind of like a lot of parallels to the oil boom, or I don't know, just a lot of stuff with that. But overall though, yeah, so they're still kind of dependent on the frontier labs, it looks like, for this. Yeah, so big tech. Yeah.
Well, I'll just add, I just thought of this right now, but Viva Systems, the software that they sell to most of these biotech companies.
That's what we got.
Yeah. The software that they sell to biotechs helps manage the clinical trials and then the regulatory submissions.
Yeah, they got some bids lately too.
Yeah.
So
we timed that one pretty nice.
I think we're positioned well with all these second order healthcare plays that tie into AI. And yeah, so just more of this. Now, if someone could figure out health insurance, that would be interesting. But
health insurance probably benefit, right? Less people dying from cancer, less costly.
Yeah, I think
surgeries,
basically,
procedures.
And yeah, I think politically, or expecting the politicians or lobbyists or whoever to figure stuff out, it's kind of like a loss. I think with health insurance at this point in our country, maybe the solution is just innovation. So this could be it. Who knows? Innovation driving down costs. Yeah. So yeah, lots of potential positive tailwinds in healthcare though. So maybe we live to 300. I don't know. Right? No. That would be nice to live longer though. We'll see. Longer and healthier. But we'll see. We'll see how this develops. I'm sure that the Moderna news, it's not going to be the first. It's kind of a signal of things to come. You know, just like what we saw, what Al was talking about with those Twitter viral solo founder people doing their own labs making drugs, like Walter White. All right. Anything else on this whole space? All right. Another big topic. Okay. Before we get to that, oh yes, flock cameras. Okay. So there's been a lot of stuff on flock cameras lately. who has thoughts on flock cameras? There's a lot of incidents going on. Yes, Afif.
Some people argue that, well, despite its intentions, where it's used to essentially track any types of criminals, right? But some argue that it can turn us into a surveillance state. So
yeah,
I've been hearing concerns about that.
Yeah, I think this is like the right 5-10 years ago they were talking about the surveillance state that China lives under.
Yeah,
but I think this is. Well, now we're seeing what they were talking about in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys like this? Do you guys like having lots of cameras around?
No. There's like a practical use to it, but like every news story around it is so negative. It's just people stalking ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like there's
all these
they're not using it for anything useful. Yeah.
I mean, apparently it's used to track criminals or any runaway criminals. That's what the whole premise of it is. So they use in the event someone's car gets stolen, right? They use image analysis to read license plates, see if it's to match it, right? So that could be one thing.
You do some of that with Ring cameras, though.
In theory, it's only a negative if you're a criminal, right? Okay. Except, in practice, I'm just saying in theory. But okay, well, one use case I think I was talking about with someone, but I was like, okay, well, and again, this is just top of the head, but you know how there's all these and again, this is kind of an isolated thing, but all these serial killer cases in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and stuff, you don't really hear about that stuff as much now. It seems like there probably are people wired like that, but I feel like those serial killings don't happen because now
we have forensics now.
Yeah, we have forensics, cameras, we have forensics, we have tech, yeah. So less incentive to go around killing 20 people in a row, I guess, or less, ways to get away with it.
Not get caught.
That's what I was saying. It's I'm sure there are pros behind this. There are pros to this, but at the same time, the cons are worth considering too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's it.
It's a matter of what outweighs what. It seems like though, the way we're going, these are just going to get more and more. There's no stopping this.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is someone did a quick thesis of the fundamental change to our legal and constitution platforms, in that flock cameras change the fundamentals to where now you have to prove your innocence versus you're innocent until proven guilty.
That is an issue if someone's innocent and then they go to prison. That's it's a huge problem. Flock states the cameras, so it's a company based in Atlanta. Okay. Cameras are not designed for facial recognition and focus on vehicles in public view. Widely deployed crowdsourced maps document. Data-driven thing. Okay. Popular with law enforcement for investigations, stolen vehicles, missing persons, crime. Okay, so I guess the thing to measure. Okay, so 82% by Flock, 5% by Motorola, 2% Genet. Okay, Axon, smaller shares. Got some other stuff. We do have Axon stock.
I think Axon could acquire them.
Yeah. Let me see. What's the market value of Flock? Let's just see how big this company. I think it's private. I also want to ask how, if there must be some data already out on the crime solving that's happened since. Now it could be, who knows? We've got to control for a lot of variables, but all right. So Flock's valued at 8.4 billion privately. Axon is what?
Only 8.4. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
40 billion.
Yeah. Can we invest in this in Forge Global or one of those? Okay. So Axon's 48 billion. Axon's okay. Well, value not exactly cash cow, but. Could they, in theory, buy it if they wanted to borrow some money, acquire it? I don't know. There's definitely incentive for the value. Okay, so Andreessen Horowitz has this. Okay, so they got the tech Silicon Valley VCs in here too.
Axon also invested in them back in 2020.
I'm tempted to invest in Flock. I'm just saying, not because I like it, just because. Okay, 8.4 billion, interesting for this, and just the significance it has. Now, okay, the question is, okay, is there data on crime solving directly result of flock.
I think the problem is that the results
is
are mixed.
it SIG
We're solving crap. Weed crap.
statistically and be objective. Let's see. Let's dive into this. Good thing about Grok is it's never going to just switch you down to a lower model like Anthropic is. You know, they're not going to restrict anything. So if you want to ask it some taboo questions,
That's kind of the thing. There's like no significant evidence that these things are like that useful.
There is data showing flock cameras contribute to solving crimes, mainly vehicle related, yes, but it's mixed. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Might be early too. 2025, 700 law enforcement agents. Flock reported its technology. Okay, well, this is from Flock itself. So take it with a grain of salt. Supported more than 1 million investigations, assisted in 20% of cleared cases in jurisdictions where it's deployed. Okay, located more than 10,000 missing persons. Now the question is like above what that normally would be, or pros versus cons weighted. Okay, 50% plus stolen vehicles in their area. Okay, Flock was involved. Okay, 2023-24 TCU claims. Adding one Flock camera per sworn officer correlated with a 9.1% increase in overall clearance rates, and network density helped. More nearby Flock cameras. Now, Flock Tech was involved in solving roughly 10% of reported U.S. crime, equating to hundreds of thousands of cases annually in their extrapolation. Okay. Oakland reports an 11% improvement in violent crime clearance after deployment. Cleveland, 15 to 18%. Okay.
Okay, so get this too, on Flock's own stats, they call this the clearance rate number.
Yeah.
Doesn't take into account if people were innocent or not.
Oh.
So it's just their rate of closing cases.
Just, shoot first, ask questions later. Some camera version of that.
That's kind of where we're at right now to begin with. So
yeah.
It's just exacerbating that problem.
Okay, so yeah, that's why there's obviously lots of headlines and controversies going on, because they're just, yeah.
Another thing that just
tricky stuff.
Just sits really wrong with me is
there
they say they helped locate more than 10,000 missing people, right? On their Instagram, their bio says Flock brought 10,000 plus missing people home last year. But I can't find anything else that confirms that they brought 10,000 missing people home, rather than just scan the plate of the vehicle that was being looked for. That rubs me the wrong way, for sure. But I'll also add, I think there's a lot of misconceptions around this right now too, because Flock has 3 different products. One is for purely scanning license plates. The other is for like watching people, and I can't remember the other. This is like primary different lines of business. And when people are cutting down these license plate readers, they're saying that these license plate readers are clocking people and watching people. But that's not true. So there's definitely a lot of misinformation floating around to spark some outrage. But I know this is where Victor is going. I think that all this controversy around Flock is paving the way for Axon to do exactly what they do, just in a more discreet way. Because this is a great idea. It's going to be useful once it's hammered out, and maybe there's eyes validating that the license plate actually says all the letters that the missing vehicle has. I've seen a couple of mistakes there where the AI gets the wrong letter and police pull over a car randomly for having the wrong letter on the license plate. But this technology is not going away, as you said, Eric, and whoever survives and learns from this and stays kind of out of the air of the controversy, they're going to be the big winners.
And sorry, Quinn, I didn't mean to laugh while we were talking. It's just that when that AI assistant popped up, I was going to tell Eric, ask it which one of these is best to spy on my ex-girlfriend.
You want me to ask it?
You're going to get banned from the website.
Let's see what it says.
It's going to be like my target demographic. This is perfect.
We are connected, guys.
Okay, do the inappropriate.
Conversation ended. All right.
Oh my god.
We're gonna get a knock at the door now, and
Your phone starts ringing.
You
We're
don't
like
want that.
tracking down with that, like you're gonna say we're gonna base for music.
that's what it gets for doing this annoying pop-up thing. I understand.
Just my thoughts. You know, I've been invested in Axon for a little bit here, like pretty bullish on that, and then I've owned like a Palantir for a bit longer. And if you just know me as a person, I like the whole surveillance state. Like I'm very against that, but I think most people are dumb, and we're probably headed towards the surveillance state because people vote against their own interests, whether they realize it or not. So my thing is, if I'm going to be surveilled, I might as well make some money along the way. That's it's almost like an emotional hedge for me. So that's my worldview on how I invest in this particular area of tech or defense, whatever bucket you want to put it in. It's most definitely going to happen. I mean, you look at something like a Palantir and how ingrained they are in our government, where it's, people say, well, what happens when a new administration comes in? It doesn't matter. They're so ingrained, you really can't pull them out. And so I think this is just another example of a tool or a device, I guess, a system that obviously is getting a lot of hate right now, but people will quickly move on to the next news cycle, whatever is bothering them that day. And then, I'm kind of in the camp where I could see Axon acquiring a company like this. And when that happens, then they kind of just get rid of the Flock name and people even forget that this was a whole scandal.
So just to know, Axon was an early investor and partner with Flock, and then they severed the partnership, and now they're direct rivals and they hate each other. But it's like Pepsi and Coke, I guess. So Axon, like in terms of like investing in the space, tailwinds in the space, Axon maybe as the public company option. That's you would assume that they come out with their own, or they use their own knockoff, or they're always going to one up each other.
I just asked Claude if Palantir was an early investor in Flock. The answer is no, but Peter Thiel's VC firm was in the initial funding.
Oh, interesting. Founders Fund, yeah. So no, it's significant that they got. If you get Founders Fund, you got Andreessen Horowitz. I mean, those are. I've said before, with venture capital, like those tier one firms, you want those names, the name backing. It doesn't matter, because they will have the connections, and you'll be able to get the right deals and so forth. The floodgates will be open for you. Flock does not work directly with Palantir, but the only thing connection, yes, to confirm that, Founders Fund participated in the funding round in March 2025. Yeah. Thiel okay. Yeah, so but Founders Fund is invested. But again, if you want to talk about, I guess you could call it the intelligence, security, surveillance tailwind, like, love it or hate it, like just investing wise. Yeah, there's definitely an angle here, I guess. I think more so directly with, if you want to go public company, Axon, that seems to be the existing. They have a monopoly on the body cams, right? For police.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And it's interesting because they obviously have a really tiny slice in the space, where they cross over with Flock.
Yeah.
But they both have like this kind of same dystopian outcome of where they see their businesses going, which is like drones being first responders to crime or to really any event where like police or fire departments or any of these people would be deployed. Which is just like super RoboCop to me, It's just like a crime starts and then just like a drone pops up.
It is something we can sort of. We joke about it and we talk, but like you kind of do have to take it seriously to a degree, because you think about like with AI, this is a massive industrial boom, right? And what are the parallels? Okay, there's some parallels to .com, okay, but there's actually a lot of parallels to. You have to go back to like the Industrial Revolution. What was going on there? And what was going on in the Industrial Revolution? Well, you had oil and you had like all these booms with like railroads and stuff. But then you had and again, I don't want to get too political, but there's a massive like increasing wealth gap, lots of economic variance between groups, and like protests and civil unrest too. Like, and so with every historical industrial boom, there's like a period of like figuring it out too, and it takes a while, before that matures. And in the meantime, there's a lot of like volatility and there's, jobs disappear in certain areas. Jobs do get created, but like there's periods of uncertainty. And so we're entering a period of uncertainty, and there's going to be, probably wouldn't be surprised if there's more protests for various things. And then there's more just incidents that go on but like if you look at it from that angle, not great for humanity, but net positive investing wise for like a Flock or an Axon in terms of company market value increase. That's it. Just looking at it from that perspective. So yeah, you could call it like an emotional hedge, I guess. You invest in those companies, right?
Yeah.
But no, that is something and that's why we say the 2028 election is going to have a lot of like stuff surrounding it, especially market, because it's like there's so many crazy things, crazy factors to pay attention to. And I do believe that yes, we probably see increasing GDP growth with AI, but then coming from that, does that mean the people benefit right off the bat? Well, not necessarily. There's there's going to be a lot of issues that come with this. And if there's just more volatility, well, these are sort of the security plays. You go for those. So yeah. Anything else on this stuff before we move to the next topic? Okay. Before we get to the lightning round, let's talk about some local news. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the Bally's, the casino they're trying to build in River West, right? So apparently Bally's paused construction at the site. They claim it's a gaming dispute with the city of Chicago about, I think it's like video poker, video gambling, those terminals.
Gambling expansion
Yeah.
in general.
And so yeah, looks like it's going to go slower than expected. I just want to make note of this though. Bally's is publicly traded. BALY is a ticker, and it has not done very well. It's underwater in debt. I mean, so a lot of casinos borrow a lot of money, but Bally's especially they've been in financial distress, and the stock has started reflecting that too. So is this sort of an excuse to sort of like buy some time, or like there's some other reasons going on because of their financial situation. So Mario, you had some thoughts on this, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think exactly that. I think it's mostly that they have just a cash flow problem.
Yeah.
And construction is very expensive, especially in a city like Chicago.
Yeah.
And they're using all unions, which is part of the agreement with the city, so it's even more expensive. But there is like the question, how long can they delay the construction before it becomes prohibitively expensive to restart the construction? So there's a lot of stuff of how are they going to move forward with the project, and someone wrote a pitch from Bally's that said like that they should continue with the construction of the casino floor to get that off the ground, and then push the hotel and restaurant and everything down the line. But none of that will, in my opinion, solve Bally's cash problem. I think I don't know how the deal structured in the city, but I would lean closer to someone's going to swoop in and buy Bally's outright.
Yeah.
None of their casinos are doing great, like the ones in New Jersey or.
It seems like lately, and I haven't really been too down in this space, but I've seen some stuff about, the casinos have kind of been going through some headwinds lately. And I think a lot of it is due to sports gambling, like the rise of sports gambling, prediction markets, and people just being more online. Like it's just, not as many people going to like.
It's exactly what you said. That like now that everything has moved to gambling, like even the stock market and trading.
Yeah.
Like you can get your edge wherever you feel smart at doing it, right? And that's no longer the casino. It's no longer the stock exchange. It's just wherever you feel comfortable. So everyone's sharing the big pot.
Yes.
So in thesis, public spaces are just dying down.
Well,
essentially.
they're going through some stuff right now, especially as we get more online. But especially with, you think about like casinos, like, and now you have stuff like these DraftKings, and then I like to call it Donkey Kong, the ticker, DKNG. This was one of yours, Victor, for a while, right?
Yeah, I ate an L on that
Yeah,
one though.
but again, so you have these sports betting platforms that have come up, and they are getting to be the size bigger than some of these. I mean, 23 billion market cap still, even after getting. And what's Bally's at? Bally's is not like super big relative to others. Bally's is at like, they're only 467 million in market cap, and then they enterprise value 8. That means they have like billions in debt. Enterprise value 8 billion. Okay, yeah, that's rough. Las Vegas Sands, I think, is one of the bigger, more established players in the physicals. Okay, she's still levered like crazy. Oh, that's all the casinos are going to be kind of like that. You have to borrow a lot to run those things, and that's why when times are good, they can do really good. When bad, they do horrible. But 30 billion. So DraftKings is like bigger than Las Vegas, or about comparable in size. Okay, 23. It's comparable in size, and then you have, who owns FanDuel? It's like
They're public.
British company, right?
They're public?
Yeah, but it's some.
Yeah, it's another company that owns them.
Flood. Yeah, that's the bigger one, I think, because they have like the UK. Okay, actually no, 17 billion, smaller. Interesting. But then you have Kalshi and Polymarket, which are also getting to like valuations in the tens of billions.
Mm-hmm.
So these are like the new, I guess you want to call it casino disruptors in a lot of ways. So because people are, okay, well now you can just bet, get on your phone. I mean, I know the casinos have their betting apps too for stuff, but like it's not as advanced as like how it is for like if you just do a DraftKings and how their app interface is. So they're just going through it. So yeah.
I mean, I just remembered that. So there's the DraftKings bar in Wrigley Field, like attached to Wrigley Field on the side there, and they had like kiosks where you can put in-person bets, and they ended up shutting that down.
Interesting.
And they never like stated a reason, at least in the email I read when I got that notification. But my guess would be that it's just a waste of space.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously every square foot of your restaurant or bar or whatever is extremely important to being, like operational, functional. And I feel like nobody was using those things because you could just do it on your phone.
Yeah, also that bar permanently closed like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, for real?
Serious?
Yeah.
Why?
Interesting.
Why do we all feel bad for driving this bar? Oh, really? If you guys actually liked it, you would have gone.
All right, so Bally's claims it's over. Okay, so it's video gambling, which video gambling has, I mean, I know in Illinois that those things caught on for a while. Most visible delay, as part of the 2026 city budget, City Council legalized video gambling terminals. Bally's argues this violates the 2022. Okay. Notified Chicago Community Builders Collective. It was resetting the pace of construction. Okay. Casino floor itself continues towards early 2027, but work on non-gaming amenities like the hotel tower, event center, many restaurants. Well, that's basically all tied into it anyway. That's been paused. Okay. Interesting.
Ask it about, so a couple days after they announced the pause, they disclosed their second quarter 10-Q, which I guess was really bad.
What do you want me to ask?
Well, I can just read what I have.
Okay, yeah.
So they filed their quarter 2 10-Q on August 14th that disclosed, quote, there is substantial doubt, end quote, about its ability to continue as an ongoing business.
Yeah.
Bally's said that it's absent in new financing. It does not currently expect to satisfy certain liquidity and leverage requirements under its revolving credit facility. it's looking to
It's
sell
true, so
assets.
it does not expect to.
Yeah, it does not
Okay,
expect
well,
to.
I think I saw when it was up on the screen, like they lost in income, they lost $750 million over the last year. So that's more than their market cap.
Yeah, like this thing could.
But if I read it right, under Bally's.
The Bally's, yeah, so like.
Yeah, so in Q1 of this year, Bally's Chicago reported losses of 56 million in the first half of 2026 and had accumulated losses of about $240 million through the first half of the year.
So half their market cap.
Yeah, so what probably happens stock wise is they have to do a lot of offerings, whether it's like a secondary or something. There's going to be a lot of dilutive financing if they don't want to borrow more, if they're going to borrow either way. But if they're going to do it through, I mean, they are public, so in public markets you can get a lot of funding, but it's going to be through a lot of these follow-on offerings probably, and it's probably going to be a further drag in the stock, and this thing could very well go down to like pennies or the equivalent and just do a bunch of reverse splits and trade like how AMC trades, like AMC being the movie theater, notorious movie theater, like that, and you'll see Bally's split adjusted would have been in like the hundreds or the thousands or something. But yeah, so stock wise, not very good. Like this is the type of thing actually, like if you're going to do not a huge fan of this, very dangerous, but a long-term short, like just thinking about all the drags on it, like, and also the increasing competition, kind of like a candidate for a long-term short, if you really want to take that risk. But like, yeah, gonna have to do a lot of financial repair here. Now that doesn't mean that the casino's not going to happen in Chicago. I think it's just more delays, more stuff, like roadblocks. But Bally's as a company, yeah, I think like what you were saying, Victor, I think probably someone could just buy it out for scraps. Maybe a bigger player,
There was a buyout in 2020.
Involving them?
Yeah, Caesars Entertainment owned it. And
did they spin it off or sell it?
VC Properties, they sold it off to a New York-based VC fund.
Interesting.
Called Twin River. The hedge fund is called Standard General LP that owns 65% of the shares.
So it's still owned by, okay. So yeah, I guess, is it one of those things that just gets pillaged for its, like how, I don't know if this is a perfect example, but like how Eddie Lampert ran Sears Holdings and just like took all the money-making assets, the positive assets for himself, and just left the company piled up with debt and just let the stock kind of kill itself. I don't know if it's a version of that. If that's the case, then was the city of Chicago duped into this? I don't know. Who knows?
Based
Probably.
on the presentation that's added,
Probably.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay.
One thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Rebranded Twin River, not a spin. Okay. Did spin up. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is just, I don't know. These brick and mortar things are tough, but especially with these casinos. And now if we have the prediction markets and the sports betting, it's like, okay, well, you're getting squeezed from all angles here. Not to mention all the permits and stuff and all the regulation stuff they have to navigate to get this thing built. Like, I don't know. Is this thing still like, it's not a traffic issue anymore, is it?
Oh, yeah.
It is. Okay, well, for people, I guess that they go up, what, 90-94, is it? Or
No, they closed Chicago Avenue and Halsted.
okay,
And then
so if you're just in the vicinity, it's gonna affect you for a while, I guess.
Yeah, and my office is right there. It's a real pain. I drove past it yesterday. Most of the superstructure's up. So I would say by Christmas, they probably ought to glaze it and then try and sell it.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, what are the tailwinds for Bally's? It sounds like it's just all bad.
That's what I was saying.
It's all
Like if you're going for a long-term short, like this is a company that you would short. Like
Yeah.
this is just, it's got getting squeezed from all sides. Not like a super crazy volatile, it's just kind of a slow bleed out type stock. Like this is an ideal type of short. If you want to do an extended short to like hedge a portfolio or something. Yeah.
So there's a comparable situation that happened in Vegas, and I haven't fully read into it, but if you ever read the story about Fontainebleau, which is a hotel in Vegas that started construction in 2007 and didn't open until 2023.
Yeah.
The first construction stop was due to the collapse of Lehman Brothers.
Yeah.
And then the second was COVID.
Right.
So
so yeah, that's again, it's very cyclical. So if you are building something at the wrong time,
yeah.
I don't know, well, this market's kind of different than that, but I don't know. It's just thinking for the industry, like them trying to build one, like, yeah, this is, and then considering that physical casinos are just going through it right now, like, yeah, I don't know if this is really well planned in any aspect. So, all right, well, we'll see what happens with it, but it sounds like more years of more extended time of just delays and traffic. So, anyone else with thoughts on this? Yeah.
Can you ask it if Bally's has anything that's like online gambling? Like, are they trying to branch out into that, or are they just staying brick and mortar?
They have an app.
I think they all have. Yeah.
Use that?
I use it to sign up for Mo.
That's right. There's an ad, dude. I can send you the referral code right now.
All these casinos have like apps, I think. They're freaking like terrible. Like they're.
But you can't like
bad.
gamble on the app. It's just some like referral thingy, right?
How does it compare? How does it compare to like a FanDuel or DraftKings?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. That's the thing. These things are like, they haven't spent time to like build up their interface or get the customers on it. They just have it, but it's like nothing.
It seems like their investors are just like, everybody else is doing it. Come on, like we got to hire a team to do this, and then the team doesn't care. They just
Right. So it's like it's one thing to have an app, but there's an execution aspect to it too. Like there's a reason why DraftKings is valued at like almost 30 billion, even though it's silly, yes, but yeah, value bet.
Has anybody ever?
Don't they have? I know they've had like kind of like how there's like sports broadcasts for certain sports teams under the Bally's name, or there have been or something. They have stuff, but like again, they're just going through it in all aspects. I don't think any of that's really going to save them or something. So yeah,
I think they, beyond the prediction markets and the sports betting online stuff, they really have their backs against the wall with the online gaming systems.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of personal experience with this, and I think a few other people in here do too. Hawkeyes, the UIC bar that we frequent, installed these slot machines like a year ago.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa, slot machines. So convenient. The thought of going to a casino just left our minds altogether. And pretty much every time we were there, we put a little bit of money in there. But since then, I've seen these slot machines in a lot of different bars, especially in the college areas.
Yeah.
And the convenience it's wonderful. I don't know how it stacks up against the actual machines, but for the one offer, one great offering that they do have, people don't want to go there anymore for that, because you can just go to your bar and it's right around the corner from you. And if you want to place a bet on a sports team, you do it on your phone. If you want some slots, go to the bar. Yeah. They're in trouble.
It's another angle that they get squeezed from. Local establishments having their own sort of stuff. And I guess, well, if they're doing slot machines, because I thought in Illinois, I guess I'm not dialed into this, but I know video poker, video gambling stuff was like, that was making waves. And now if they're doing slot machines, and like, well, that's just another, like, if you're talking about like an existing established, like bigger player historically like Bally's, and then, yeah, this is just more, I guess you can call it disruption.
Yeah.
It's not disruption in like the tech innovation sense, but it's disruption and just sort of like the regulatory, what's allowed now sense. And that is going to be a drag on them. Yeah. So all the more reason to, I guess, short it.
Yeah.
If you want to play or something like that, some hedge. It's a hedge.
All right, I'll be doing it tomorrow.
Yeah. That's when it starts popping. Yeah. Yeah.
So long term, what do you guys think about like the nightlife in Vegas? How is that gonna look like?
I don't think so. Vegas is gonna get affected much. Other cities where people are not going just to gamble are gonna get affected. Like Vegas, you go and you know that you're gonna go out and gamble. But if you're living in Chicago, you're not necessarily gonna go out to gamble because convenience is on your phone. And now I recently read somewhere that the return rate on these apps for betting is 92 to 96%. People who bet once are coming like 92 96% coming back on the app. So why would I go outside and take the inconvenience of going outside? If I'm with my friends at the bar and we can just either play on a slot machine, which is convenient, or just place bets on our phones, and we get free money through referrals. Like nobody's giving free money at them.
So you think Vegas is gonna be alright?
Not get affected much.
Foot traffic has already declined in Vegas, so has tourism. So I think
That's what I'm saying.
Vegas has already.
25 was right.
Vegas is interesting because they pivoted to high-end clientele like about 5 years ago. So they stopped caring about us, anyone in this room really. They're what they're really targeting is like the celebrities that are going there with their posse for a weekend. That's where the money's been coming from Vegas. So yeah, foot traffic is way down, but they're still flat or still making the same money.
Yeah, they're still a beneficiary of that upper K part of the K-shaped economy. So
Their issue is going to be access to fresh water.
yeah,
I think like, yeah, Vegas has, and I'm sure gambling's the main thing, but like there's other people who go there. I mean, they have shows, they have other stuff, they have proximity to like parks, national
like
parks.
Disneyland
Yeah,
for
it's kind of like
adults.
that. Yeah. I think who would feel it more? Maybe Atlantic City, if that's ever been like Atlantic City's been kind of like a downswing for the past X number of decades. I don't know much about it, but Al asked me to ask about Macau. It's like an international near Hong Kong, China. That's a big gambling area. So 2025 was solid. 2026 started strong, but cooled. Okay, comparison. So apparently Las Vegas was bad in 2025, and then kind of up from that, some modest gains. Okay. Yeah. Stabilizing. Okay. World Cup. Okay. Got to factor in World Cup too. I'm sure a lot of people were gambling or doing stuff related to that. Macau has been brighter spot in Vegas Strip in recent. Yeah. International might be just a different thing. Especially in China, they really love to gamble, or the Chinese love to, they'll fly to Las Vegas and gamble too. Yeah, so yeah, I think some headwinds. Now, again, probably more company specific. Like if we're talking about Bally's specifically, I think they just a company that probably just does not execute very well relative to others. So yeah.
Can you compare Valley's business model with Las Vegas Sands?
Yeah. And yeah, Sands is like the more large established player that's been around. They have a lot of stuff. Vegas and on the Strip. They also have been going through it a little bit, but probably, again, they're making money at least still. They pay out a dividend. I guess if you're going to play physical casinos, if you still believe in like, again, this is like Vegas moving back up, I think Sands probably is the way to play it if you want to play that. But of course, these things with how much they borrow, well, book value is not high, so that's a little deceptive. But yeah, so these are always going to be very cyclical and kind of like risky, but Sands is probably pretty solid. Now let's see what they say comparison wise. Okay, quick summary. Bally's diversified regional US casinos. Yeah, okay. Sands, large scale integrated resorts in Asia only. Oh, so they sold their Las Vegas asset. It's called Las Vegas Sands, but now it's Macau, Singapore mainly. So that's more, I think, more stronghold internationally. Interesting. Okay, well that changes things a little bit, but okay. So Sands is more of the bet. That's an international bet essentially. So if you believe in like Macau and stuff, then Las Vegas Sands. Even though the name doesn't really line up, but okay.
What about MGM? MGM's still in Las Vegas.
By the way, it's 7:45, so let's, after this, let's go right to the lightning round so we can get some other stuff in here.
And an interesting addendum to Al's question. 4.9% of Bally's stock is owned by a guy named Noel Hayden. He, in 2001, started a company called GameSys, which is a very successful online gambling portal. That's how he made his money. He's a British entrepreneur.
MGM, they have Las Vegas, they have Macau, they have, so it's more of a balanced play. Let me see MGM.
Pretty heavy online too.
Yeah. Okay.
How would you know?
Students tell me things.
Oh.
General knowledge.
That's right.
Interesting.
How many hotel rooms does Bally's expect to have though? 500?
I think it's 500. Yeah.
For the Chicago thing?
For Chicago.
Interesting. That's pause
They
rate.
have a 3,000 seat movie theater expected to be built as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's like mixed use. So intimate concert space, House Blue style.
So how many years do they have? If they're expecting $800 million revenue every year, how long will it take to recoup all their debt? Capital spend.
Yeah.
That's the name for stock, right? It's a loss.
At least a decade, probably. Well, it's gonna, yeah, even if this casino is really successful, like specific one, like, yeah, it's a long road for Bally's. I'm sure it would be very nice looking though, if they complete it. If they probably will, just much later than expected, but yeah, what were you saying?
Well, I'm not like entirely familiar how, these businesses operate or manage their debt, but if you think about it, like, man, at some point, because they're struggling with cash, they have to refinance a lot of this debt, and if rates are higher, like, it's just gonna eat into any of the potential profits you were gonna have in the medium term, so.
Maybe MGM steps in or something and just takes it over, who knows?
Yeah, it just seems like a really tough runway to get off of.
Can they even service their debt over the next 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Anything else on this, or should we go to lightning round? Real quick. All right, let's do lightning round. Who's got stocks? Go.
I'll kick us off.
Yeah.
AVEX, AVEX is the ticker. So they're, I believe it's around $1 billion market cap. They are a drone / autonomous warfare company. I was looking into companies that obviously the US government is spending a lot into drone warfare, and the war in Ukraine has really proven that we need to. So I'm looking into a couple of these different companies, and this is the one that struck my interest most because they have been supplying their drones since 2022 to Ukraine. They've used over 10,000 in Ukraine, and they're emerging. And the US government is their largest customer. I think they represent around 80% of the revenue, which could be a risk, but it could also be a good benefit. But they're growing fast, they're at capacity, and it's just a matter of how fast they can scale. They just IPO'd a couple of months ago, raised a few, I think $300-400 million. So they're really expanding the production. Just wanted to throw it out here because this is right in line with our thesis. But they also have a software side of the business as well. So it's not just purely the unmanned drones, but they have numerous different angles. And also, it wasn't started as a drone company.
Right.
So very interesting.
What's the ticker?
AVEX. So yeah, if you want exposure to like a drone player, small, I mean, 2 billion market cap. So again, small mid cap, but and they are making money. They've been beaten down. Yeah, pretty decent, especially I think given what we've been talking about, even though it might not be directly related, but just the whole security, whatever stuff. And I know this is more Ukraine related, but I'm curious, what are their
They IPO'd in April.
outside of the Russia-Ukraine war? outside of that war? Like, what do they do business wise? Because there might be some, if we want to call it like a mini Anduril or something like that, some angle there. But I know because we've tried looking for drone stocks and it's kind of not too much out there. Okay, so substantial. Okay, tied to broader U.S. and allied defense priority. Okay, U.S. Air Force stuff. Yeah, unmanned mission stuff. Okay, U.S. Army. Yeah, so a lot of U.S. military stuff. They have orders, contracts there. Okay, California. What is this? Fire integrated real-time intelligence system. Okay. Some emergent. Oh, this is for wildfires. Interesting. All right. Well, if global warming, climate change, or whatever keeps getting worse, we have more wildfire exposure. I don't know. Okay. Indo-Pacific, NATO, Europe. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Speculative, obviously. But you've got a lot of military exposure with this. And considering just all the potential tailwinds coming, not to mention the whole US-China Cold War and then the uncertainty, I don't think it happens anytime soon, but there will be a lot of reason to fund defense stuff surrounding US protection of Taiwan, etc. So there's just a lot of potential angles. So I think in general, as a tailwind player, yeah, I could see this. All right. Anything else? Who's got one?
I saw this news about the Yomani robots and stuff. Had the game Olympics kind thing happened then.
I've got that on topics for next meeting.
Okay.
Chinese, and then the Unitree IPO. Actually, the Unitree IPO, that's the Chinese robot startup, but we can talk about it a little bit.
The robot broke Usain Bolt's
Right.
100-meter record, and
China's making headway in robotics, and I've said it before, the automate things. Talking to some engineers, they think China has the infrastructure. They have the whole Shenzhen and that whole area. They have the infrastructure to really do something big in hardware robotics. Even though robotics still, it's not there yet, but it will be there soon. And I think it's something if we have robots, even though it might look silly now, but still running faster than Usain Bolt. And then let's see what it looks like a year from now, right?
Right.
Those things have really developed very recently. So,
but connecting it back to the part we were talking about electronic vehicles and how Tesla is you still need a human behind the wheels.
Yeah.
So if you put a robot behind the wheels, then you don't need a human actually sitting there.
We're getting close, or we're kind of there in a lot of respects already. Has anyone ridden in a Waymo or a Robo?
I was just in Santa Monica 2 days ago, and there were Waymos everywhere. It was insane. And they were navigating some tricky situations too. I was very impressed.
I was in Dallas.
Yeah. So, it's just, I think it's just going to be the thing. I know it's in limited markets right now, but it's just, just like how Tesla, electric cars 10, 15 years ago, you'd see a Tesla here every now and then, and now you see them more prominently. So these, whether it's Waymo or Tesla Robo Taxi, it's just going to be, we'll see several years from now, it's just going to be probably more normalized. And yeah, so it's coming. And then not to mention humanoids, I think that's coming too. Maybe a bit longer, but still it's going to get crazy. So yeah, Unitree. All right, briefly, stock related. So Unitree IPO'd in China. First day closed up 460%. Market cap is about 50 to 53 billion already. Huge. That's pretty crazy to start. All right, so that's a little nuts. Yeah, not much revenue to show for it. Basically, essentially pre-revenue, but Tencent's invested, DeepSeek is invested. Okay, so some big Chinese players are in it. And if you're talking Chinese tech, like big tech, I mean, essentially like Chinese government is going to be like, you play China, like they're all kind of tied in with the Chinese government. So, yeah. Well, if you have an interactive brokers account, maybe you want to play that. Still very speculative. But yes, humanoids are coming, robotics are coming, self-driving is coming. Just a matter of when. Speculative, yeah. All right.
It's tough to rely on the financial statements too.
Yeah,
They're not audited.
it's basically just like with, it's like how you evaluate biotech, you know. You either really believe in the story or you don't, and then you have to be willing to hold through like an 80% drawdown or something. So
Since you were talking about Tesla and autonomous vehicles, can you look up Albemarle? It's ALB.
ALB.
Their top lithium producer, batteries storage.
Play here. 16 billion. No, pretty good value metrics here. This might be the one they've been beaten down to. This might be it's a battery play.
Batteries, yeah, energy storage, lithium production,
Okay.
fully integrated.
Let's see. This is an Albemarle. There's like a town called that or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. All right. Let's see what Grok says here. But yeah, again, some of these off the beaten path type things, rooted in deep value or pretty good value. 16 billion company, that's pretty good. Mid cap, kind of the sweet spot, established. Definitely, so like an indirect beneficiary player. This is a very interesting, like this is the type of thing actually. I'm not saying this, like we already have good stuff for the portfolio, but this would be some candidate you would consider for the portfolio.
Morningstar is rating it at 200 a share.
Interesting. To keep in mind, analysts will always put a high target buy rating on most things, but this is, I do think, there's a lot of stuff for this. All right, so let's see what Grok says. Lithium ion, okay. Producers of lithium, okay. Yes, okay, and then they do energy storage, yeah. Vertically integrated, I like vertical integration, especially chemicals. Okay, lithium and bromine, whatever. Okay. Yeah, energy storage is half their net sales. This is ALB. 50% of total net sales are linked to new energy end markets. Okay, this is good. Okay, so, okay, stuff in Australia, stuff in North Carolina, Chile, Nevada, interesting, kind of all over. Yeah, so just big with lithium, and obviously there's always going to be demand for it with all this. This is pretty solid. Some geopolitical China stuff, okay. Yeah, pure play on lithium. Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, I like this. All right, any other names? Who's got one?
I have two non-American. Put this into the prompt. Bachem, BACHEM, and then that's a Swiss company. And then in the same prompt, Wuxi Tides, WUXI space TIDES, and both of those are in reference to peptides.
Is that weight loss?
Just any peptides.
It could be for like muscle
Botox?
recovery. It could be for hair, skin, just that stuff. Yeah, so we've been talking about peptides a lot lately because they've been deregulating stuff related to it. But again, peptides are, they're not FDA approved, kind of a gray area. So people are taking it.
So they don't manufacture the or like nobody makes peptides in the US. They're always made somewhere else. And I keep like ChatGPT and Grok and everything like that. Where are you gonna win if you're selling the pickaxes for the gold mine that would, I think, peptides be? And it keeps going to Bachem, however you
Swiss
say it.
company, yeah.
Yeah, and then that Wuxi one, China's really hard to understand. But I think that might be the best one. That's like a analog to Bachem.
See if I can find a chart here or something. Okay, it's on the OTC exchange here.
Both are on OTC.
All right.
Unless you're buying.
Yeah, so OTC, yes, it's mostly scam penny stocks, but OTC exchange also does have like legit, reasonable sized foreign companies. So those are fine to purchase on that. It's just they do it because you can clear a lot more regulation filing stuff related to versus having like an ADR or whatever. It's just, So yeah, you can buy this BCHMY in the OTC exchange, $9 stock. Okay. All right. It's been kind of just treading water for a while. But hey, if this peptide, you get the peptide tailwinds, okay. Now they do, okay. Development, manufacturing, okay. Ingredients, okay. Full life cycle research, okay. High quality, yeah.
With the
benefits
Chinese
from
one, you're not buying
GLP-1s.
full peptides. It's like 25% of their business peptide. Is it API manufacturing?
Okay.
I guess you gave a look that you have been looking at these names.
I've heard of Backham. They already have their foot in the door with the US market vicariously, because a lot of the ones that sell peptides is like research chemicals. I don't know why this is, but they get it from Switzerland. I assume just like looser regulations there. But like there are a few companies that like they get all of their stuff, and you can view like the third party tests done on it, and there are a few of like the big ones that get it through. I think it's Backham. I think it's Chem. Backham. I don't know, but I have seen that one. But it's not available for us to buy, is it? Like how?
If you have an IBKR, like Fidelity lets you buy. Your brokers can sometimes let you.
Yeah, so Interactive Brokers just lets you do international companies if you elect for it, maybe for a small fee. And then I think if it's on the OTC exchange, which some of these foreign companies are like Backham, then you just need to elect for like OTC trading privileges, and then you can buy it. Just again, probably a small extra fee, probably negligible. It's fine. Not going to be liquid, so your fills might not be perfect. But again, if you're just investing long term, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make much difference. Okay, so this one, Wuxi. This is in the Shanghai. It looks like. So I don't know if this would just be you'd have to get Interactive Brokers, I guess. This is starting to move. Okay. Had a run in COVID. Now it's coming. Okay, so they do. And that's just another peptide player. Okay, development of them, etc. This is like the classic Chinese peptide play.
What's the ticker on that one?
This is
Two out there on the.
WUXUY.
So the other one was what? BCHMY. That's on the OTC exchange here, or you can trade it. It's Swiss. But this one, I don't know if this is.
This one also has an OTC.
It does.
It's trying, yeah. But it's like super duper liquid or something.
WUX.
Oh, so it'd be WUXA.
Yeah.
Wuxi.
Yeah. Okay. So it's already run. Let me see. Is there a market cap? Volume 99. Average volume 2,000. Yeah, that's how much it's trading in. Okay. Not bad PE. Yeah. Okay, 75 billion. Is that in USD? I guess. So this is pretty big, huh? Like either way. I mean, yeah. So if you don't want to play like HIMS, you want to play some more direct.
That's the thing though. HIMS does something different than these two.
Yeah. Yeah, these are more the manufacturing, like straight up, like the more close to the source.
The enablers of the pharma companies.
Yes.
It's the ingredient, right?
Exactly, the ingredients basically. So if you want to play the ingredients, then this is it.
Novo and some other large American company also has ability to do what they do. It is also increasing it like crazy.
I just wonder what the margins are on the ingredient versus the markup on the sale of the drug itself.
Right.
The Swiss one is, their margins are insane because they have all the lucrative Western contracts. The Chinese ones are a lot, their product is a lot cheaper, but also a lot less companies are buying it because they need to pass through regulations. At least that's what the robot was. But yeah.
Just a different angle to play peptides, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Because if HIMSS just might like not take it, you know, like
right.
There seems to be like two sort of markets for these peptides. There's the regular, like your doctor prescribes it to you, yada yada, and then there's like the gray market, black market ones, and then, well, you think one is going to explode, but you don't know which one. And to go from gray market to let's just call it white hat market, you have to get a bunch of regulation approved, and that's kind of a coin toss. So if your thesis is just, okay, peptides are going to be a lot more of a thing in the future, you don't know how the regulation is going to play out. You don't know if there's going to be a massive boom in people buying gray market or if it's all going to become white market. Then you just buy further down.
Right.
And I'm looking at these because there's no American equivalent to this unless you want to buy it Novo. Well, I guess Novo's
right. Well, they're going to try to play more by the rules, the FDA rules, right? Mm-hmm. So, anything else? Who's got? That's it. All right. I think we should wrap it up there. Thanks for coming to another good informative meeting. And you're welcome to stay for dinner after or drinks. If not, then thank you. And we'll see you hopefully in 3 weeks. So we got another 3-week break. All right.